The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Tuesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. As always, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I'm going to put them in the top right corner like we always do so you know exactly where to go if you are in the market for a new or used vehicle. There's no better place than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day, and we thank them for their constant support and sponsorship of everything that we do here, not just on Running Point, but on YSN as a company. They've been here since the beginning. They've been a proud supporter of this show, proud sponsor of this show, and through all the changes, they've been there. So Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown, go check them out. They are they're the ones bringing you this show to you today. And this show is going to be a good one. We have a good episode for you today. We're going to have an interview played with Natalie Davis, the senior from Boardman softball, coming back from an injury. So she was robbed her junior season. Now back in the circle, back pitching for Boardman. And Fred Moots talks about, when we asked about her in his season preview, talking about, Natalie Davis coming back stronger than she was even before her injury. All that rehab really kind of brought back a little bit more velocity, a little bit more speed to Natalie Davis's pitches. And can't wait for you guys to hear that interview. It's going to be a good one. Of course, we're going to recap last night's action, and we're going to preview tonight's action as well. We have another beautiful day of weather. Sun's out. I don't see a cloud outside of my window here in Boardman. It should be another wonderful day. I think it's going to be a little bit warmer than yesterday. First pitch yesterday from where I was, up in Garrettsville, was 68 degrees, and I think it's going to be a little bit warmer today as we venture deeper into the softball and baseball season. We are happy that we have nice weather. Let's recap yesterday, and we'll start with the game that I was at. Champion traveling to Garfield. This was a big matchup in the MVAC. Both teams were undefeated in the conference with a pretty sizable, pretty sizable. Oh, geez, the words I was looking for just went right out of sight of my. They didn't just play one game. It's not like they were both 1-0. They had a piece, body of work in the conference. Garfield was 3-0. They kind of swept their way through their first three games. Champion, same thing, 4-0. No one really gave them trouble. And this is a big game in the standings. There was a big game on two fronts of the MVAC last night with Garfield and Champion, and then Crestview playing Brookfield as well. We'll talk about that game in a little bit. But so both teams come in undefeated. Obviously, Garfield, they haven't beaten Champion as part of the MVAC yet, but it's just their second year, so they were coming in hungry. And this is a game where Gabby Gradishar got the start in the circle. I was there, second time I've been able to see her live, and she's great. She's amazing. Just a great pitcher, and one of the things that made her really on point last night is the fact that she was able to stay low in the zone for a strike and then come back up in the zone for a strike and not really get behind too many hitters while trying to do that. Obviously, there were some chase pitches with being ahead in the count. She really was able to masterfully carve out this Garfield offense that is pretty good. You look at their averages early on in the season, they only had two players that were batting below 300, and they were at the bottom of the lineup. And then they had something that most lineups don't feature, at least in this area at this level, which is a lefty in the middle of the lineup that is there kind of as a cleanup power producer. So you don't see that too often in Garfield in most lineups, but Garfield definitely featured that last night. So that's a tough one to navigate. Obviously they had another lefty up at the top of the lineup and one more at the bottom, so three lefties in the lineup for the G-men, and that plays in the hands of Gradishar, though. I don't know if they really expected that, because Gradishar throws that screwball. It's such a good screwball that'll go inside the righties and outside the lefties, and those left-handed hitters, they like the pitch to be, out but up, right? Screwball stays down. So especially Gratishar screwball stays down in the zone. Really hard to kind of get out there and get your bat on that pitch, especially when you can't go out of the box like you used to be able to. So really good pitching for Gratishar, but you go over her line, pitched a complete game, 15 strikeouts. She struck out the first 9 hitters. So she went to the lineup the first time around, struck out everybody. Came back, 15 strikeouts, was 2 outs away from a perfect game. Still got that no-hitter, third one of her season. And she's absolutely living up to the hype. That's the hype that she had last year before she got hurt. Like, everyone was talking during basketball season, before softball was even, in a lot of people's minds. People were like, wait until you see this pitcher that's coming in from Champion. And obviously we weren't able to watch her last year. She got hurt in basketball season and then missed the softball season, but she's healthy now, and she is absolutely living up to the legendary billing that has been placed on her shoulders. Want to kind of talk about this screwball a little bit. I got the softball with me. So screwballs, a lot of pitchers have the curveball, which will go outside the righties, inside the lefties, right? So curveballs are a little bit easier to throw because you're coming out to in on your pitching motion. You don't have to get tight on your body and then come out to it for a right-handed pitcher like Abby Gradishar. So screwball, you hold the ball like this, with your index and your middle finger on the top of the seam with the upside down smiley face of the seam of the softball, and then the ring finger and the pinky kind of out of the way over here. But with the screwball, when you have your launch, you're gonna open launch, so you're having an open angle body, and you're gonna come in inside your body and then work out, right? So not as an easy pitch to throw, especially to control and stay low into the ground. So I'm really impressed that Gradishar's best pitch, in my opinion, seeing her twice, is her screwball, and it's a hard pitch to kind of master and control and keep low in the zone. But Gradishar does a really, really good job of it. There were a couple of them that were just right on point, perfectly thrown. She adds velocity to it. It was impressive. She can throw the other side of the strike zone, and she does feature, her rise and an off speed as well, that she can go into her bag of tricks. But her screwball is her number one pitch, and seeing that on display was a treat, because you don't see a lot of pitchers have that being their number one. Screwballs are usually ones that you kind of go to. You don't have a lot of control over, but you're just trying to work the other side of the zone. You don't see a lot of pitchers with, especially at this level. I should say at this level. You go into college, see a lot of pitchers with a good screwball, but at this level, you don't see a lot of pitchers with a very good screwball that they could throw at any count and really trust that they're going to be able to put it where they want it to go. Because you want it to stay low in the zone, you want it to break. You needed to break in. So you're facing a lot of lineups that feature a lot of right-handed hitters. If it doesn't break in and you leave it over the plate, that screwball is going to be easy money. Or if it doesn't break in enough, I mean, if you're on the inside half of the plate and you're going up against a power hitter, obviously they want to pull the ball. Screwballs are kind of built to pull. But if you do it right and you keep it low and keep it tight, and then you come in with one that's maybe a little bit higher on the hands after you set that up, it's tough. It's tough to deal with if you can control it. And I was really impressed last night. Like I said, her screwball was on point, and it was fun to watch. On offense, Champion did what Champion usually does. They built a really consistent offense. Every inning they scored but 2. So they scored in the first, the second, the third, the sixth, and I think in the sixth. So they scored 5 out of the 7 innings that they played, and they won 11-0. The final score in that one, it wasn't a run rule. Garfield was able to really keep their head above water for the most part, keep themselves in the game. Their pitcher, by the way, Lizzie Moore. I want to talk about her for a minute too, because I was able to see a lot of good things out of her, and I think when she goes up against lineups that aren't champion, she's going to be really, really effective with her off speed. Her off speed pitch was really good. Got champion out in front quite a bit. A lot of ground balls that went to the left hand side of the infield. Some got through, some didn't. But you could tell that champion was struggling with timing up, especially first time to the lineup, timing up that off speed pitch and getting really good bats on the ball. And then obviously they adjusted and they made a couple of big hits down the stretch, but especially early, there were not a lot of hard hit balls. There were ground balls that might have found their way through the infield. But I really like what Lizzie Moore did. She came into yesterday not walking anybody. She works the strike zone really, really well. She doesn't, she's not one of those high strikeout pitchers either. She didn't have a lot of strikeouts coming into yesterday, just 15 total on the season, but no walks. So she's a pitcher that likes to pitch to contact and use her defense behind her. And I think Champion had a brilliant game plan coming in because they were aggressive early. And that's what you have to do against a pitcher like that wants to attack the strike zone, not walk a lot of hitters. You got to go after early pitches. You can't get far behind. You can't let her, get creative with her pitches. So you attack early because she wants to get strikes in on you. And a lot of Champion hits came on first pitch swings. They were really aggressive early in the count. It was a brilliant game plan. And I'm not surprised because they're led by a legendary coach in Cheryl Weaver that probably does her homework more than anybody on the teams they're about to play. So really impressed with Champion again, and they will have another matchup with Garfield tonight at home. Then they will go to Brookfield on Thursday. That'll be a big one as well in the MVAC. Brookfield right now sitting at number 2 in the conference, and they beat Champion in one of their matchups last year. So that's going to be one where Champion's got to be hungry, and I'm going to be there on Thursday for that game. Can't wait. Speaking of Brookfield, let's go over their game as the Warriors were able to beat Crestview last night. Same score as the Champion Garfield game, 11-0 was the final. And Abby DeJoy, who is putting up some serious power numbers this year, we had her on the show yesterday, hit her 5th home run of the season against Crestview. She was the offensive juggernaut of the lineup. She went 3 for 4 at the plate and drove in runs on a single, a home run, and a double as well. A triple away from the cycle, and she's just putting together a strong season at the plate. Marina Nicholson was on fire in the circle as well. She went the distance, no runs, 1 hit, struck out 6, walked 0. So man, Brookfield's impressive. Champion's impressive. Those two are on a collision course on Thursday. I'm really excited to see the very veteran Miranda Nicholson go up against this Champion lineup that she's seen before. There are a lot of players that are there from last year against the Gabby Gradishar, who hasn't seen the Brookfield lineup before. That hasn't stopped her any games this season yet, but Brookfield lineup that is hitting really, really well right now. Against a Champion team that is flying on all cylinders. That's going to be on Thursday. Don't want either team to look ahead of today because they have today to kind of deal with Crestview for Brookfield and Garfield for Champion. Those are still the numbers 3 and 4 teams in the conference, so you can't overlook those squads at all if you're one of those two teams. But I myself am very much looking forward to this matchup on Thursday in Brookfield. Let's go over some other scores from yesterday. Head over to our Instagram page and get those final score graphics that our graphics team worked so hard to get up as quick as possible. We will start with the games that happened in Myrtle Beach. Fitch was able to win yesterday, 11-0 final score there. Canfield had 2 games yesterday. They won by scores on the softball diamond as 10-0 in their first game, 12-2 in their second. South Range was in action last night on both the softball and baseball fields. Softball team got a win 18-0 over Bamberg, And the baseball team had a thriller, and they won 9-8. So both South Range teams are undefeated so far in Myrtle Beach, as well as every team that we have down there has won all their games so far. We'll go into the games that have already happened this morning here in a bit after we get over last night's games. Baseball Diamond Lakeview got the win over Jefferson 13-6 final score there. East Liverpool fell to Wheeling Central 19-1 on the Baseball Diamond. Harrison Central Baseball was able to beat Beaver Local 15-6 final score with that one. But Beaver Local softball got some revenge. 9-6 they beat Harrison Central on the softball field. Same score on the Baseball Diamond for Heartland Christian and East Palestine. 9-6 the Lions get the win in that one. A tough one to swallow for Boardman. They were up 9-2 against Painesville Riverside, and they just saw that lead slip away in the 6th and 7th innings as the Beavers of Riverside come back and win that game 11-9. And this Boardman team, especially on defense, kind of young, still learning their steps, and a young team that goes through, a momentum swing like that, you can see the wheels go off really quick. And unfortunately for Boardman, that happened last night. They will play Riverside again at Riverside, I believe, on Wednesday for another matchup with the Beavers. Back to the Baseball Diamond Lakeside with an impressive win over Edgewood, 13-6, the final score there. Columbiana Baseball beats Southern by 10, 15-5. Clippers keep rolling in the EOAC. Indian Creek Baseball beat Edison 15-8 in a high-scoring affair for the Redskins and Wildcats. Then we go into that matchup on the softball diamond, and it was a 2-0 win for Indian Creek as they sweep Edison in a pitcher's duel. Katie Fluharty did all she could, and she pitched really well in that game, trying to get Edison a victory over the over the Buckeye leaders, but it was not to be done as Indian Creek wins that game 2-0. We saw Girard softball get a big win over Struthers, 17-0, the final score for that one. And then the baseball side of things, it was Struthers. They came back from down 6-3, and Anthony Pastella with the walk-off hit in the 7th to beat Girard 7-6. That means Struthers gets to sweep over the Indians. They played in a game on Friday as well. So Struthers with a big win over Girard in comeback fashion. What a win for Coach Otto in that bunch. Louisville softball got into a really good game against Glen Oak. Maddie Benson went yard for the Leopards as she was our offensive player of the year last year. You can't forget about Louisville and the players they have in that lineup. 8-7, they get the win over Glen Oak. Camel Baseball, they got the win over Liberty 9-7, the final score in that one. Hubbard Baseball wins over Niles 7-2, final score there. LeBray Baseball stays on a roll 12-2. Vikings win over Newton Falls in that MVAC grade tier. McDonald Baseball gets the win over Jackson Milton. Carson Clace with another really good outing on the mound. He is he's dynamite, and this is a matchup for first place early in that MVAC Scarlet tier. McDonald wins game 1. They'll play again tonight. This time it will be at McDonald. Champion and Garfield in the baseball diamond, the G-men, they avenged the softball team, beat Champion 6-2, and Eric Geddes had a really good day on the mound for Garfield. We talked to him during the football season. Great young man, great young athlete. Happy to see him have success on the baseball field. Crestview wins 4-1 over Brookfield on the baseball diamond as they also avenge their softball team's loss to Brookfield. Wellsville gets the win on the baseball field 14-6 over Lisbon. And then Columbiana finished off the doubleheader with Southern Local 11-1, final score in game 2. A very good matchup in Springfield as the Tigers beat Waterloo 4-3 in a big MVAC Scarlet tier matchup. Back to softball, McDonald beats Jackson Milton 3-0. Isabella O'Brien throws a one-hit shutout of the Blue Jays. That one hit was a triple of McKaylee Thornhill in the first, and then O'Brien came back, struck out Grace Johns to end the inning, and didn't give up a single thing the rest of the way. Olivia Morrison was the big bat in the lineup for McDonald, going 2 for 4 for the Blue Devils. LeBray softball gets the win over Newton Falls 12-1, final score there. Riley McDonough continues to have a great season for LeBray as their offense looks to get hot. How about this? Liberty softball hits 4 home runs on the day in a 13-11 win over Campbell Memorial. And if you thought that was the most home runs that we'd see in a game in the season, well, last night proved you wrong, because last night was kind of funky because we got more home runs to talk about in a game a little bit later on. Lisbon gets a no-hitter from Morgan Lively at 11-0. They win over Wellsville. And Lively, another no-hitter that we saw last night. We saw Champion. We saw her. We'll talk about some others as we go on. And actually, the other one's next on deck as we go into our graphics. 13-0, Springfield wins over Waterloo, and Haley McCalla throws a no-hitter. Hallie McCalla, no-hitter for Springfield. And 13-0 win there. Poland gets the win at Jefferson, 6-0 on the softball diamond as well. We saw Pymatuning Valley softball beat Wyndham 10-0. We saw Conneaut beat St. John on the softball field 12-2, and this is the game I'm talking about when I say home runs. We thought that when we saw Liberty hit 4, I was thinking to myself, that's going to be the most home runs we see in a game all season. I mean, that's 4 home runs in one game by a team. That's absurd. That doesn't happen too often. And then Conneaut said, hold my Gatorade real quick, because they went out and hit 5 home runs in this win over St. John. 12-2, the final score there. Spartans get the victory. On the baseball side of things in that matchup, it was St. John's that got the last laugh. 23-4, final score there. Those are your final scores from last night. Let's go over some of the scores that happened so far today in Myrtle Beach. We'll go over these games in the from the morning slate. We had South Range get the win at 8 a.m. They played, sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. They played Anderson County, and they won 3-0, the final score there. And you look at the box score, the player of the game for South Range on offense was probably, I would say, Kelly Zolik, 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. A lot of RBIs spread out. They had 1, 2, 3 different players with RBIs in this 3-0 win. They collected 9 hits on 3 runs on 9 hits and 1 Anderson error. Suzanne pitched them to victory, gave up 3 hits, no runs, struck out 5 in 7 innings pitched. So Suzanne dazzles again, another shutout for South Range, and they win 3-0 over Anderson County. They will play again today at 7 o'clock at night against Anor. That game tonight as well. As we move on to other games that happened today at Myrtle Beach, we'll go, let's see, to Ursuline. Ursuline got the win today over St. John. Final score there was 11-1. And the player of the game for Ursuline was Mia Opalak for this one. 3 for 4, 2 RBI, 2 runs scored for her, as well as she pitched an inning in relief, struck out 3 in that inning that she pitched as well. 3 Ursuline Irish pitchers towed the circle in that game for Ursuline. We'll go into, let's see, Canfield softball. I think they should be final by now. They started at 11. They beat Chase. Final score was 14-0. Haley Freedy, a good day for her, 2 for 3 with 2 RBI, 2 runs scored in that 2 spot of the lineup for Canfield. 14 runs on 19 hits for the Cardinals. Just 1 hit allowed by Toth and Bella Kidney, who both pitched in this game. Toth allowed 1 hit, struck out 11, walked none. Obviously, no runs earned, and then Kennedy came in to pitch an inning. She struck out 2 and didn't give up anything either. So just that 1 hit surrendered by Canfield pitching today. They will play on Wednesday against Kaiser at 10 a.m. for the Cardinals' next game inside Myrtle Beach. Austintown Fitch, they got the win this morning as well. You heard Ty Bartell on the call, 17-0 over Bamberg. And Ayla Ray inside the park home run. We saw her build up some power, but today in Myrtle Beach, she proves that she can still run around the bases pretty fast too. So Ayla Ray with an inside the park home run, and Fitch takes care of Bamberg almost by the same score that South Range did yesterday, the Raiders were able to score one more run on that team than Fitch does. 17-0 the final score there. So all of our softball teams really doing well at Myrtle Beach so far. We had baseball teams play last night, so that'll end our recap as we go into Myrtle Beach scores from last night on the baseball diamond. Let's start with Poland. Poland is down there for baseball. They only sent their varsity team, but they were able to win 8-0 yesterday against Star Point. That's a cool name for a school. Let's see. Player of the game for Poland in this one was, Paparizou, with 1 for 1 day, a walk, 2 RBI for him. They pitched well. It looks like he, along with the offensive performance, pitched the 4 innings for the start, struck out 7, gave up no runs on 3 hits, and then DeCaro came in relief and pitched 3 innings and gave up 3 hits, no runs, struck out 5 in 3 innings of work. Poland got that win 18-0. They bounced back after that for their in their first loss of the season with the the morning loss to Halifax, 15-0 yesterday in Myrtle Beach. Poland will be in action again tonight at 5 o'clock. No, 6:30. I'm sorry, 6:30 again against Washington Academy in Myrtle Beach, and then they will play on Wednesday, and that'll round out their Myrtle Beach trip for the Bulldogs. Let's see. Let's go to Canfield baseball, and they got the win last night over Whetstone. Whetstone. I hope I'm saying that right. These high school names very curious. And let's see. Slanker had a good day, and he's the player of the game. Ben Slanker, 3 for 4 with 4 RBI, 2 runs scored for Canfield. Big day at the plate, 12-0. They get the win over Whetstone. They will play again today. Let's see. It looks like a 6:30 start time against Highland Regional for Canfield in Myrtle Beach. Am I missing anybody? South Range baseball. We didn't talk about them, did we? No, we did not. We can't miss the Raiders. South Range baseball, they got the win yesterday. 9-8. We talked. Well, we did. We went over their win. They're playing right now against North Central, and that game's still scoreless at the moment in the top of the first. We just started top of the first inning, and the Raiders are at the plate. It is Skirpak at the plate with runners on first and second. Nobody, 1 out. Sorry, 1 out for the Raiders. So they look to get it off to a quick start against North Central, and we'll keep an eye on that score as the day goes on. All the Myrtle Beach stuff, you can find updates and scores on our score page and our Instagram, as well as those final scores come in. And then, of course, we have DJ down there, Chris Colucci down there, as well as Ty Bartell down there to cover as many games as possible at the beach. So take a deep breath. That is our wrap up of yesterday. It was a full day of games. We're supposed to have a full day of games today as well. We will preview the night ahead, but first we will have the interview with Natalie Davis. All of that after this break on Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a minute.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Hi, I want to tell you about my Trish Yearwood home collection available at Sheely's Furniture. With 2 locations serving Ohio and Pennsylvania, Sheely's is one of the country's top sellers of my home collection. And the best part? At Sheely's, you never have to wait for a sale. They offer everyday low pricing as well as a price match guarantee, so you can shop the Trish Yearwood home collection with confidence. Come see my collection with something to offer for every room in your home and get it all with free local delivery, only at Sheely's Furniture.
Thank you, Trisha Yearwood. For man, what's your favorite Trisha Yearwood song? Let me know. Mine is always gonna be "She's in Love with the Boy." It's a classic. It's a banger. It slaps. She's also remade it on one of her new albums. So let me know. In the comment section, what's your favorite Trisha Yearwood song? Think about it and hit me back, but not during this interview, because we have a really good interview for you to listen to. Natalie Davis, a senior from Boardman, like I said, coming out off of an injury. And coming back for her senior year after that injury. A very good story, a very good interview. Can't wait for you to hear it. So here is Natalie Davis from Boardman here on Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Harwig here with a Boardman softball player profile, our latest of the season. We are joined by Natalie Davis, a senior at Boardman. Natalie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So last year when we talked to you, obviously we're talking to you about the injury that you were going through and not being on the field and how you were still trying to lead and be a positive kind of impact on the team without it. So now that you're healthy this year, the first question that I have for you is, what kind of lessons did you learn from last year to bring into this year in this season?
The number one lesson I learned was definitely to cherish every moment I have on the field, because I lost so much time previously. And I'm having a lot more fun. I'm playing loose. I'm just having a good time on the field.
And now that you work so hard to get healthy and get back, what was it like kind of the first time back on the field and the first time kind of being able to be back on that softball diamond?
Well, my first time back on the field was actually in the summer. I got to go in for our last tournament, and I wasn't allowed to hit or anything, but I was allowed to get on the mound, and I had an three up, 3 down inning with strikeouts. And I felt really comfortable being back out there.
One of the things that we talk about with athletes when they're coming back from an injury like that is some mental blocks they had to go through and trying to trust their body again to be able to go and do the things that they used to be able to do. Did you have to go through any of that? And if you did, how did you kind of get past those mental blocks and those forms of adversity?
I had a ton of mental blocks when I was going through rehab, when even just the simplest thing of jumping or anything. But I just got through it by just trying to overcome it and not think about it and just push through it, really.
You made Coach Moots have a very stressful winter. You played basketball as well, and I know he held his breath every time you went up on that floor. But obviously, that was something that was important to you as well. What did it mean to you to go back to that sport and try to get yourself, physically and mentally ready to get back into softball?
Playing basketball it's so much fun for me, because those girls that I play with are some of my best friends. They're like my sisters, and Coach Hamilton is literally the best guy that you could ever know. And Coach Brian, G, all of them, they just made it so much fun, and it made it so comfortable for me to have a sport to start with. And then once I got to my sport, which was softball, I just felt ready to go, and I was so excited to play.
This is your sport indeed, and you're a couple of games into this season. What's it felt like to be back with this team and to be able to contribute to the team's success this year?
It feels so good, because being on the sidelines last year, you could contribute, but just not to the extent that I wanted to. So being out on the field again and like pitching innings, helping out Tori and helping out Gabby, it just feels so good to not leave Tori out to dry this year, and I can help with my bat too. It feels good helping the Spartans win games.
You know, you threw out 3 names that the Boardman can put in the circle, and that's kind of unique in the area. We have a lot of good pitching, but a lot of teams have, that one name that you know. You guys have 3 pitchers and a kind of a staff of Boardman. What's that like to be able to be a part of a bullpen of pitchers that you can go in for Tori, or Tori can come in for you, or you can go in for Gabby, or whatever the formula is that works. You have a staff. What's that like for you?
It's amazing because you can really just lean on each other, and all 3 of us relate to each other in a way, but we're all different in a way too. We all have different approaches, and we all have different speeds, different pitches. So it really helps us win games because we can throw off teams a lot. And the best part is just being able to lean on each other. And when you're not having a good day, you know that Tori or Gabby's going to have a great day.
When Coach Moots talks about you and talks about coming back, he talks about how you've come back stronger and you've come back faster, and you're a different pitcher now than you used to be. What kind of changes do you see in yourself in the circle between who you were before and what kind of pitcher you were before compared to what kind of pitcher you are now?
I think before, really the biggest difference is that I have like a desire to work harder at it. I feel like before I would just, go to my pitching lesson and do this and that, but now I like really focus on what I'm doing, and I try to get better every time I'm doing it. And you can definitely see from where I was at my sophomore year to where I'm at now, you could see a definite change.
It's your senior season. I mean, what's it like going through everything and knowing it's the last time you're doing it? It's your last home opener. It's your last time playing this team. A lot of lasts this year. What's that been like for you emotionally to deal with all the lasts that you're going through?
It's really bittersweet. I mean, starting even with my basketball season, my last basketball game, I mean, I was a train wreck. I was crying. It was bad. But I mean, softball is going to be the same thing. Like stepping on the field every time, I know it's coming to an end. So it's a really weird feeling, but it's bittersweet.
When you were going through all that in basketball, you still had in the back of your mind that you knew that softball was still on the horizon. You still had sports to play at Boardman.
Mm-hmm.
Is there even more kind of emotions on your mind now, knowing that after softball, like your sports career at Boardman is over? There's no next sport.
Yeah, I think I don't even think that feeling has set in yet, but it definitely is coming. I don't know. I just like putting on my Boardman uniform, so it's going to be a really hard day when that time comes and I can't put it on anymore.
You have a long time to think about that. You have plenty of games still to play in this season. One of the things I want to ask you about is being a senior leader. Obviously, there's a lot of seniors on this team, but there were a ton of seniors on last year's team. What's it like for you and your fellow seniors to step into that big hole that was left with eight seniors last year, if I'm not mistaken? So what's it like kind of stepping into a role where, 8 people led last year and now you guys have to be much bigger leaders than you were a year ago?
I think we try to lead by example. We all have different styles of leading. There's only 3 of us, so we have to kind of take over the reins a little bit more, but you could tell like Cammie will definitely lead by example. She's kind of a quiet killer. And then me and Maddie, we're the loud ones, and we're going to put people in their place if needed, but that's usually never needed. And we're going to we like to be loud, and we like to have fun, and we like to push that energy onto everybody else.
Your leadership is definitely one where you're a vocal leader of this team. And I know those kind of skills aren't exactly ones that you just kind of, you're born with. Those are ones that you learn. How did you learn how to be a vocal leader and learn how to know when to say things and know when to not say things and those kind of finite things about being a vocal leader? Who were some of the people that taught you how to do that?
That's a good question. I really think it stems with a lot of the coaches that I've had in the past, which my travel coaches, they like to put responsibility on me and some of my other teammates. It's about knowing what to say, when to say it. And I just think it definitely develops over time. And I just think a lot of my coaches have taught me that.
Softball is all about confidence. You have to have confidence when you're going good and when you're not going good. What are some of the things that you do to keep yourself confident in the circle and at the plate?
My confidence, I usually just try to forget about it. That's my main thing. Like I can strike out 3 times in a row and I just forget about it and move on and make a play in the field, because softball, the ball's always coming back to you. So you're going to have to be ready to make the next play. So my confidence just comes in believing in myself and knowing that I'm able to do what I want to do. And even when I fail, I know that there's going to be another opportunity.
Obviously, your team puts a lot of confidence in you as well. How much does, having your team and having your coaches behind you give you confidence as well?
I have the greatest teammates because they believe in me. And even though I wasn't there last year or even before that, they all just have confidence and they believe in what I can do. Like, even just the random comments from like Gabby Sparrow, who's like, "Oh, Natalie hits the ball so hard." It's like, it just makes you feel good about yourself, and knowing that they believe in you makes you more like you can succeed more when they believe in you.
Obviously, you're a pitcher. We've been talking about your pitching, and we can't talk to the pitchers without also talking about their battery mates and what it's like to build a relationship with your catchers. You have a couple of them that have put in innings this year with Olivia Lasivita and Maddie Weimer, of course, being the starter. What is it like building a relationship with your catchers and to be able to work with them and trust them in the backstop to know you and know what you're doing and to just have that trust with the catcher?
Just like Coach Fred always says, a pitcher is only as good as their catcher, and we really do have two of the greatest. Liv, Maddie's been hurt recently, and Liv has done a great job stepping up and being back there for us. But Maddie Weimer specifically, I mean, she has come to almost every single one of my pitching lessons in the off season. She knows every single one of my pitches like the back of her hand, and if she needed to call a whole game, I have full confidence that she'd be able to. So I could not be more thankful to have a Maddie Weimer.
Having a catcher that puts in the time like that, I mean, how easy does that make it for you to put in your time and to be able to pour into your team because you have teammates that have proven that they're able to do that for you as well?
It's the best feeling. I just know I can, especially Maddie. I mean, the whole summer when I was trying to get back, she was the first person to text me and ask if I wanted to pitch, ask if I wanted to hit, or, just anything. So it makes it so easy, and we honestly just have so much fun doing it. So it makes it even better because we're always dying of laughter while still putting in the hard work.
Let's talk about this coaching staff. It's the last year with Coach Moots and his gang. What kind of things have they taught you about softball throughout your career, and what's been so special about being coached by the coaches that you have?
Coach Fred has always had so much confidence in us. I mean, we've gone through, especially the turnover from last year to this year. We have a totally different group, and he really just hasn't really skipped a beat. Like, he still believes in us, and he knows that we can get back to where we were last year and even further. So he just makes it easy to play because you know that he's always cheering for you. And then
One of the things that
I'm sorry.
you keep going. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was just gonna say adding Paige this year has been awesome too because she brings a lot to the team.
So one of the things that you notice real quick about Boardman softball is the fact that you guys have such a fierce and loud booster club that is always supporting you guys and giving you new equipment and doing whatever they can to make sure you get what you want. Last year you got the new scoreboard. You guys are supported by the parents and the community of this Boardman school. What's that like for you guys, knowing that the school, the community, the boosters, the parents, they're pouring into this program and they want this program to succeed as much as it does?
It feels great knowing that you have support. I mean, even this year we got some new jerseys and we look super cool in them. So, I mean, that's always great. We got new bags, new helmets. Like they spoil us, and it's just great because you feel good and you look good and you play good and they're just a great support system.
You've had a lot of jersey combos, a lot of uniform combos in your career. Yeah, we have to ask what's your favorite. What's the favorite Boardman combo that you've had so far as a Spartan?
My favorite is definitely this year with our all-white uniform with the maroon belt and the maroon socks. It just looks great.
You know, the icy white, man.
Yeah.
Just so you can get it dirty on that dirt, you know?
It looks even better after that.
The other thing that we talk about pitchers is the superstitions that they can bring to the sport. Do you bring any superstitions in the circle or at the plate?
I just think my superstition would probably just be my warm-up routine, especially when I'm pitching. I'll go through my whole routine where I'm like, we'll stretch as a team, we'll throw as a team, and then I immediately get on my band, and then I do my same pitching warm-up every time. So, but besides that, I really don't have like a superstition.
What about like a batting routine? Like every hitter comes up to the plate with a routine or something that gets them locked in mentally. What kind of things do you do when you step in the box to keep yourself on the same routine and try to keep yourself as consistent as possible?
I like to take a little half swing, just feel it out, and then I'll get my sign or my call from Coach Fred down at third, and then I'll step in the box and I'll usually like tap the two corners of the plate, and then that's basically it.
The thing about softball nowadays in the high school level, you have so many advancements in technology with Game Changer, and you're able to watch your at-bats clipped right after the game, and you're able to watch your pitches straight after the game. What's that like to be able to kind of scout yourself, coach yourself, and to be able to go and watch film and try to make yourself better without the coaches having to come on and tell you kind of all the stuff that you need to improve on?
Oh, I love it. I love after our games going on YSN and watching my at bats to see like why I swung and missed, what am I doing wrong, So it's really easy to watch yourself and critique yourself than trying to understand like what someone else is telling you. So I do thank you guys for that, because after every game I will go watch my at bats and see what I did.
You've had a lot of good coaches in your career. Um, who do you think is the most responsible for the raise in softball IQ that you have, for your ability to do that, to go on, watch film, and kind of pick up the things that you're doing? Who do you think is the most responsible for raising your softball IQ?
I would probably give that to one of my travel coaches, Gary Jones. He is always sending us some Instagram reels about watch this hit, watch this, that, and he just has so much knowledge for the game that it really rubbed off on me.
He's gonna have bragging rights all summer, so
Yeah.
we had to get that question in because he's gonna pound his chest now.
Yeah.
When you think about some of the things that you're gonna miss about Boardman, not just a softball team, but being a part of this school system after you graduate, what are some things that you're gonna miss the most about representing the Boardman and being in this school system?
I'm really gonna miss just being with my teammates, really, and being with all my friends at school. I mean, as much as I hate going to school, I like my friends, so that kind of makes it's kind of hard to realize that I'm gonna have to be leaving all of them soon.
Sounds like that senioritis has set in hard.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about schoolwork though, in school and being in the school system, what are some of the favorite things that you've been able to learn, subject wise, in your schooling career at Boardman?
I'd say probably two of my favorite classes that I've taken, especially this year, was sociology with Mrs. Sturgis. I mean, it's just really fun. We literally just sit in there and argue for like an hour every day. And then history of rock and roll. I mean, it's just music class. Who doesn't love that?
All right, so you like the class where you get to argue for an hour every day. What is one topic that you think you could debate anybody on, and that your opinion is so strong that you could if anyone's across the table from you, you could tell them that this is my opinion on this. What's one topic that you could do that with?
Actually, one of my strongest things that I like to argue about is that there should be a professional softball league and they should get paid just as much as the MLB.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're on the roll with that. We have Athletes Unlimited, and we have the Lauren Chamberlain started the league. We're trying.
Yeah,
we're getting there.
I mean, I have lots of points, but I mean, if college softball makes more money than college baseball, you would think that they would figure that out.
Do you have a favorite college softball team to watch on TV?
I love watching the Florida Gators. They're my favorite, but I really like Montana Fouts too. So.
All right, see, they play each other.
I know.
You're playing defense.
It's hard. I really like Montana Fouts, but I've always liked Florida, so it's hard.
All right, so before we get you out of here, I want you to give a shout out to your support system and all the people that have kind of been there for you throughout the years and what they've meant to you in your career.
Obviously my parents and my brother, they're great. Love them. They're always supporting me. And all of the coaches I've had up to this point they've just made me who I am. So I'm thankful for them.
All right, Natalie, we thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We want to wish you the best of luck in the rest of the year, and we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
All right, thank you.
That was Natalie Davis, senior pitcher and also first baseman for Boardman, leading the Spartans right now. A tough start to the season for Boardman, obviously, but their schedule is also brutal. And the one thing Fred Moots will always tell you is you got to fail forward. So it's something about this sport that you're going to learn. And Boardman, they're going to be ready for the tournament when it comes around with the schedule that they put together. They will be back in action Wednesday when they go to Riverside. Let's go into the action that is happening tonight and preview the night that is happening on the network first. We'll go with the games that you can see on YSN Start with baseball at 5 o'clock start time in Louisville as Akron St. Vincent St. Mary comes to town. It'll be Rob Roberts on the call in Louisville. Then we go into scene 1 as Columbiana will face off with Ursuline. 5 o'clock is your start time. Joe Eusebio going to be on the call there. Hubbard goes to Niles. Ian O'Brien going to be there for the Dragons and the Eagles. Game 2. Cooper Chavone going to be at Lakeview as Jefferson travels into town for game 2 of that series. And then Minerva will be at Salem tonight. Derek Rhodes will be on the call in Salem. Also, Sam Torres going to be in Ashtabula as Edgewood welcomes in Middlefield Cardinal for a 5 o'clock start. And then last but not least, on the baseball side, Toledo Rockets come into Youngstown State University, and Matt Morrison, our buddy, making his first ever call at a YSU baseball game, and he's stepping in for Anthony Romo. So props to Matt Morrison for doing this and stepping up, and good luck to him on his first call at Youngstown State baseball. So for softball, we already had the 2 games at Myrtle Beach. That'll be South Range played at 8 a.m. and Fitch played at 10 a.m. Those are 2 games that were on the network. And then tonight we're going to have 2 more. Columbiana at Brookfield. Matt Marr will be on the call. No, actually, that's double booked. Yeah, okay. Crestview at Brookfield. And then Jackson Milton and McDonald. Sorry for the confusion there. I will be in Woodland Park for that game between the Blue Devils and the Blue Jays. Round 2 of that one, where it was a pretty good pitcher's duel. In round 1, we'll see what Thornhill and O'Brien, or maybe Bree McCombs from McDonald, they can throw her as well. We'll see what they all have to show us today at Woodland Park between the Blue Jays and the Blue Devils. Some other games that are going on. Let's go back up to baseball and go through the schedule. We have Fitch at Fitch versus St. James. They're playing right now in Myrtle Beach. And we'll give you an update on that score. Right now, Fitch is down 8-3 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Bases are loaded, and there's 2 outs for Fitch at the plate. So Fitch trying to come back. They have an RBI opportunity there with a 5-run deficit. Some more games that are happening today. At 4:30, Conneaut will be at Grand Valley. At 5 o'clock, Badger goes to Cheney. That'll be at Cox Field for that one. Cam Memorial, goes to Liberty tonight in Game 2 of the MVAC series. Let's see. Canton Central Catholic will play at Hoban. 5 o'clock start time there. Chalker will go to Heartland Christian. 5 o'clock start time. We have Conneaut at Pymatuning Valley. Garrettsville Garfield goes to Champion for Game 2 of that series. Jackson Milton will be at McDonald as well on the baseball field. That'll be at Woodland Park, just like the softball teams. LeBray at Newton Falls tonight. Oak Glen will be at Edison. Sebring will be at Western Reserve tonight. And a caveat to that game, our ace photographer, Gary Leininger, will be in Western Reserve for both baseball and softball. So you can find pictures of those games on our Smug Mug later on tonight from Gary Leininger for purchase. Springfield will go to Waterloo to try to sweep the Vikings. St. Clairsville will go to East Liverpool. And let's see, Struthers will go to Girard. No, that's a reschedule. Struthers played Girard on Friday. Toronto will go to Southern. And that'll round out the baseball schedule. Softball will have Edgewood at Grand Valley at 4:30. Geneva and Lakeside at 4:30 as well. Alliance will go to West Branch. These are all going to be 5 o'clock games from here on out. Camel will go to Liberty, and they'll try to bounce back and get a win over the Leopards. Garfield goes to Champion as Champion tries to sweep that matchup. Hubbard will go to Niles. Jefferson will go to Poland. LeBray will go to Newton Falls. Latonia will go to United. Sebring will go to Western Reserve. Southeast goes to Warren JFK. Springfield goes to Waterloo. Let's see. Struthers does go to Girard on the softball field. And then also softball tonight, South Range will be going up against Anar in Myrtle Beach. So Game 2 for South Range in Myrtle Beach tonight happening as well. While I was reminded, I want to give a shout out. We were talking about the no-hitters that happened last night. And I did accidentally skip over one. Hubbard got a no-hitter against Niles on the softball field, and the no-hitter in the circle was thrown by Haley Taylor, who threw it in the 17-0 win that the Eagles got over Hubbard. So congratulations to her. She joins the long list of no-hitters from last night. We had a lot of good pitching pop up, and you're probably going to see a huge chunk of them on the starting nine and part of the Diamond Roundup show that we'll have on Sunday from 7 to 8 o'clock. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun time. That'll do it for today's show, though. We went over all the games that are happening tomorrow. Make sure you get there. All the games that are happening tonight. Make sure you get there. ysnlive.com/live is where you can find all the games that are happening. And have a good evening. We'll see you tomorrow with Scotty Mincher. He always brings great stuff to our show. He'll be with us tomorrow from 1 to 2. Don't miss it. And we'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in.